Welcome to Race to Win, a sailing podcast brought to you by RaceQs.com. We analyze RaceQ's 3D regatta replays and review racing tactics, rules, and winning strategies. I'm Julia, and today's podcast is the first in a series about starting strategies. We're going to get started with a basic starting strategy, which is reaching out and reaching in. Reaching out and reaching in is a classic starting strategy. It's one of the first ones that you learn. It really works best when neither the pin or the boat end of the line is favored. Basically, when the committee has done a good job of putting the line square to the wind. It's not something that you want to use in a large start. It's really better in smaller, less aggressive fleets like your regular Sunday night club race. This particular fleet is about 60 boats. It's the 2013 Meld National Championships in San Francisco Bay. So the example that we're going to show you of reaching out and reaching in is actually a little bit more of a creative use. This start is very easy to execute and really forgiving. You're just going to reach down the starting line for a set amount of time, let's say 1 minute. And you can see here in my example, I have an arrow pointing at a colored line. That is the color-coded GPS track of the boat we're using in this example. It's color-coded for speed, so you can see exactly how fast and slow he was going just with a glance. So let's say you sail down the starting line for 1 minute. You're going to turn around and head back for another minute. That should put you right on the starting line at the start. Now, it's really pretty forgiving because if you went a little bit too fast, you can simply sail down the starting line for a bit before hardening up and beginning the race. If you're a little bit too slow, you should be able to pour on a little bit extra speed and get there in time. So let's watch how one of the professional level racers does this at this Meld Championship Regatta. So we're looking at the bird's eye or 2D view, and this is boat 29 here with the names changed to protect the innocent or not so innocent. The starting area is defined in this replay as this green shrinking box. On one end you have the pacer line, which is this line here that the RaceQs app actually calculates. Now on the other end you have the starting line. Basically, if you're in front of the pacer line, you're going to be early to your start, and if you're behind the pacer line, you're going to be late. You want to be just right on it to get an on-time start. So let's see what our friendly little boat 29 here has been up to. You can see from his GPS track, he reached down the starting line, he's made his turn, and he is coming back. Now, he looks like he's going to be a little bit late. He's biding his time. He's found his hole, and he is going to sneak just barely right inside the committee boat, but he is going to have clean air and a great start. Let's look at this in 3D and get a little bit better angle. So here we're looking at the boat head on, and you can see his GPS track as he's been reaching down the starting line. Now remember, there is no one start that's going to work in every fleet. So this is a great example of taking a classic maneuver and changing it up a little bit to work in a busy fleet like this one. We can see in the replay the time left until the start in the upper right-hand corner, and then we can also see the distance left to the line here for boat 29 that I've highlighted. So keep an eye on those two things as we watch what happens. So as we see, the boats have made their turn and he's getting ready to approach the line and cross. There's just about 30 seconds left or even less to the start. You can see that pacer line is coming. You can see the whole rest of the fleet there. Now this is a very competitive start. The Meld National Championships has some of the top sailboat racers in the world right now. Now look at this. He's just stopped, parked, waiting for his moment there. Now remember, there are 60 boats, but we only were able to record about 24 with RaceQs. He was able to sit all the way at the end of the fleet and then get his moment to sneak just right inside the committee boat there for he's got clear air. He's a little bit behind some of the boats, but really it was a pretty great start. Now then you have this guy behind him who is having to tack away from the dirty air. So just to review, this is an easy technique. You reach out for a minute, reach back in for a minute, and pretty much turn and start. It doesn't require a really good sense of time and distance because, like I mentioned, it's very easy to adjust. There's some problems. One is the fact that because this is such a classic start, everybody's trying to do this. And so if you're in a fleet with 7 or 8 boats, and everyone's trying to do this, you can really end up in a situation where you're sort of joined the parade. Everybody's doing the same thing. Everybody's in bad air. And you might have to do something like tack out and end up trying to port tack the fleet. There is no one starting strategy that's going to work every time. So tune into our next podcast to learn about the next one on my list, which is the Vanderbilt start, or the full speed approach. See you next time. If you enjoyed this podcast, you can find more on our website, www.racecues.com/podcast, or search for Race Cues on iTunes and click subscribe. We would love to hear from you, so please give us a review on iTunes.